On June 30th, the Church celebrates Saint Martial of Limoges, who has been honored for centuries as the first Bishop of Limoges and the great Evangelizer of Aquitaine. Although some details of his life come from ancient Christian tradition rather than documented history, his influence on the beginnings of Christianity in southwestern Gaul is undeniable. His witness reminds us how a few courageous missionaries transformed the spiritual history of an entire region through their faithful proclamation of the gospel. According to a very ancient tradition, Martial was sent to Gaul together with other missionaries to proclaim the gospel. They traveled great distances through territories where Christianity was still almost unknown, bringing the good news of Jesus Christ to people who had never heard his name. When Saint Martial arrived in Limoges, the city was largely pagan. Roman temples dominated the landscape, and very few people knew the Christian faith. Undeterred by these challenges, he immediately began preaching Christ with gentleness, patience, and unwavering courage. Gradually, many families embraced the Christian faith through his preaching and example. Saint Martial visited homes, explained the scriptures, celebrated baptisms, and gathered the newly baptized around the Eucharist. Little by little, the first Christian community of Limoges was established. Ancient tradition attributes many miracles to Saint Martial. One of the best known concerns his companion Austriclinianus. During one of their missionary journeys, Austriclinianus became gravely ill and died. His companions were overcome with sorrow. Saint Martial knelt beside him and prayed with complete confidence in God. According to tradition, Austriclinianus returned to life. This extraordinary event deeply impressed the local people and led many of them to embrace the Christian faith. Other ancient accounts also describe Saint Martial praying for the sick, who recovered through God's power. These miracles were never performed to glorify himself. Instead, they pointed people toward Jesus Christ and strengthened the faith of those who witnessed them. As a devoted shepherd, Saint Martial organized the young Christian Church of Limoges. He formed deacons, instructed future priests, celebrated the sacraments, and carefully handed on the apostolic faith that had been entrusted to the Church. Thanks to this patient work, Christianity became firmly rooted throughout the region. Everyone who encountered Saint Martial was struck by his humility. Although he was recognized as the spiritual father of the Christian community, he remained close to the poor, the sick, and the forgotten. His authority came not from power or prestige, but from his charity, simplicity, and complete dedication to Christ. According to tradition, Saint Martial completed his earthly mission peacefully in Limoges after decades of evangelization. The faithful soon began gathering to pray at his tomb, honoring him as a holy bishop and one of the founders of Christianity in Aquitaine. During the Middle Ages, his shrine became one of the greatest pilgrimage destinations in France. Thousands of pilgrims traveled long distances to seek his intercession, and devotion to Saint Martial spread throughout much of Western Europe. Even today, Saint Martial remains one of the great patrons of the Limousin region. His missionary work reminds us that the gospel often spreads through the quiet fidelity of people who dedicate their entire lives to Christ without seeking recognition or earthly success. Saint Martial's life also reminds us that God's greatest works often begin in simplicity. Through perseverance, humility, and unwavering faith, he planted seeds whose fruits continue to nourish the Church centuries later.